Hey gang, I trust this finds you well. How are you doing? Well, today is the 1st of December. And you know what? As they say in my mother tongue, alichoni lingenandab, meaning each day has got its own story. Now, Ehard Voster, a young man, calls Sonwabile the K word. Unfortunately, in South Africa, using the K word is regarded as hate speech, and one can be arrested for it. In 2018, it was decided that hate speech cases should be tried as criminal cases rather than civil cases, which means Ehard chose a wrong time to be racist. Previously, one could get away with receiving just a fine for this offense. But as of 2018, the minimum sentence for one convicted for this crime is 3 years imprisonment for the first-time offenders and up to 10 years for repeat offenders. I'm sure some of you guys would remember who Vicky Momberg is. She was sentenced by Randburg Magistrate Court to 3 years imprisonment with a suspended year. And she appealed the matter to the appeal court, which also came to the same conclusion in that it upheld the Randburg Magistrate Court's judgment and simply gave her 3 years with 1 year that was suspended. Now, what is the likelihood that this may happen to Voster? Very high. Why? Because there's already a case law precedent in this matter. You can just Google Vicky Momberg. You'll see her case there. Read the case. It makes for a very interesting read. When you look at paragraph 10, when Vicky Momberg was driving at Malibongwe Drive, she literally stopped a police vehicle which was being driven by a black person, a black police officer, and of course there was other 2 officers in the car, and one of them was also white and happened to be senior to the black that was driving. But she called the driver Kaffir. But that's not the reason why she was charged. The reason why she was charged is she had called 10111, and she was answered by a black person after she had a snatch and grab incident. And she called 10111. She was answered by a black person. She called the black person and the K word on the phone. And then she did the same to another one and another one. And then when she saw this police van, she flickered her lights on them. They stopped, pulled aside for her. She went there and she said, I'm tired of dealing with... And then again, she used the K word. You get the point? What does this demonstrate? This demonstrates a mental case scenario. Okay? This is hatred. And there is a saying by Thomas Sowell, Professor Thomas Sowell from America, that when people are used to receiving special treatment, treating them the same as everybody else makes them feel that they are being unfairly treated. I think that this is what has happened to all white people, and I used to say those who are a certain age and above, but apparently they are passing that on to their children, as can be seen over here. Check this out.
EFF Kaffir.
EFF Kaffir. Oh, okay, that's not nice.
EFF Kaffir.
EFF Kaffir. Oh, okay, that's not nice.
EFF Kaffir.
Now, in case you don't know, in terms of our law, that girl is as guilty as the same as Ehard. Why? Because Ehard has violated a law, and she went ahead along with it without correcting him and without reporting it. And so if this matter does go to court, she will be found guilty of the same, of being a co-conspirator of the crime. Think about it long and hard. What happens? Now, of course, this is important how we deal with it. Because I've read on Twitter, and I'm not going to show you Twitter feeds because I think it's ridiculous the way people deal with things. When we, for an example, deal with an individual, we don't generalize. I'm dealing with Ehard here, and I wouldn't deal with the girl next to him had she not laughed. Had she said, Ehard, how could you say something like that? No, she didn't. She went along with it and she laughed. That's what makes her a co-conspirator on the matter. But Does this now mean all white people in South Africa are racist? No, 1,000 times no. White people are not a monolith. Not at all. But clearly there are racist white people in South Africa. And that's what we are talking about here now. Now we're not going to talk about, don't make an error of saying black people are racist too. You are blaming the victim in this case. For us to get along, we need to learn each other. We need to understand one another. Our arguments need to be sincere on the basis of our premises, and something you need to place yourself in the shoes of the other people. If now, for an example, I have committed an offense, just think about this. I have committed an offense and you are trying to correct me, then I say you yourself are not perfect. What does that mean about me and my ability to receive correction? Can you see that I'm closer to being a narcissist or closer to hell than the devil himself? Why? Because I don't receive correction. I am creating an impression that I am perfect, yet nobody is. There are people like this who cannot receive correction, or who cannot correct an issue based on its specificity without bringing all the other baggage which has got nothing to do with it, or without generalizing. No, this is not about white people. This is about Ehard. Ehard is a racist and he has manifested his racism. Now, I can go as far as pointing to his parents or to his teachers at school. That is still not all white people. That is just the people who are within his sphere of influence, who have let down such what to call a young man who now may actually face a 3 years imprisonment, depending on his age, of course. Right? Now, I don't want you to minimize what Ehard has done here. Let me show you. I'm not going to show you Vicky Mumberg's case, because you can get it by just simply Googling. But let me show you also what he has violated. Check this out. Do you see that? That's your constitution. Now look at paragraph 2. I like to start with paragraph 2 when I do this, when I expose people to the constitution, because many South Africans are ignorant of this. This constitution is the supreme law of the republic. Law or conduct inconsistent with it is invalid, and the obligations imposed by it must be fulfilled. Observe, it says law or conduct. Firstly, it establishes its supremacy. It says the constitution is the supreme law of the republic. Any conduct or law that is against the constitution is null and void. That's what invalid means. Okay, brilliant. Now that we've established that, paragraph 9. Let's go to paragraph 9 under the Bill of Rights. Now we're going to go to subparagraph 3 of paragraph 9 as well as 4 and 5 so that we can finish timely. The state may not discriminate directly or indirectly against anyone on one or more grounds, including race, gender, sex, pregnancy, marital status, ethnic or social origin, color, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture, language, and birth. So what did Ehard do? Now it says here the state. Fine. If you say the state, I acknowledge that. Right? But if you look at paragraph 4, it applies paragraph 3 to a person. Can you see that? No person may unfairly discriminate directly or indirectly against anyone on more or one grounds in terms of subsection 3. Can you see that? National legislation must be enacted to prevent or prohibit unfair discrimination. So what Ehard has just done now, he has literally unfairly discriminated against Sonwabile based on his race or based on his color. And we know this, that historically the word Kaffir, or the K word as it is called, has connotation that black people are inferior to white people. Okay, even though it's an Arabic term, but that's not how it was used in South Africa. Now let's look at subparagraph 5. Discrimination on one or more of the grounds listed in subsection 3 is unfair unless it is established that the discrimination is fair. Can you see now? He has broken the highest law in the land by calling someone else a Kaffir. Do you see why he's going to go to jail? Depending on his age, of course, because if he's underage, he may get away with murder there. Now, Again, for him to go to jail, somebody must open up a case. Now look at paragraph 10. Everyone has an inherent right to dignity and the right to have, excuse me, I didn't read that correctly. I just attached my meaning to it. Everyone has an inherent dignity and the right to have their dignity respected and protected. Do you see that? So when he calls Sonwabile Kaffir, is he acknowledging his inherent dignity? No. He is literally undignifying him and is doing this in front of his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is laughing, or his sister, whatever the girl relations to him, I do not know. And if that's his sister, then they obviously got that training from their parents. Right? Now, this also comes with the attitude of paragraph 13. Slavery, servitude, and forced labor. Now, normally, this was also done precisely because black people were subjugated by white people. But observe, no one may be subjected to slavery, servitude, or forced labor. Okay, now you may argue and say, no, but it doesn't work for him. It's fine. I'll accept that. And I think on a second thought, it's also I myself acknowledge is also not relevant. But certainly, paragraph 9, subparagraph 4, and paragraph 10 has been violated here. Can you see that? And remember what is the penalty for this offense? 3 solid years. Good people, we have an obligation. People, you need to do root cause analysis. You need to do a SWOT analysis, and you need to do a root cause analysis. Look at your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and your threats. And then do a risk analysis of your behavior, root cause analysis of your behavior. Do not self-justify, because if you do not receive correction, as I have already said, you have a problem. It's not me who has a problem. Look yourself in the mirror. You are not perfect, regardless of your skin color. And what I do not expect is what I saw on Twitter, where white people are justifying the behavior of this child unknowingly or unknowing, of this boy unknowingly or knowingly, and also criticizing the EFF's racism. No. The EFF is justified here for protecting a right, because this is a constitutional right that has been violated. What I expected is exactly what I do when Julius practices his race hustling. I criticize him. And I never, ever, whilst I'm criticizing Julius, focus on other people and say they deserved Julius's behavior. It never happens. So the only way to remove this in our society is for white people, when they're given this opportunity, to come out and condemn this with the strongest possible terms, and that's it. No but about it. No howevers should be attached to it. No other conditions that are not specific to the incident should be brought to bear on the issue, because then you are no longer being sincere about your criticism. This is very, very important. Ehard has messed up, and he's standing alone on this matter, of course, with his parents who taught him this nonsense. Of course, his parents will come out publicly and deny it if they never taught him, because I know, I'm a father of 4 girls. I know very, very, very much that there are certain things that you don't teach your children. But when they say them in your presence, you get rid of them. Okay? You get rid of them as a parent. That's why it's very important for parents to train up children in the way they should go. This boy clearly has not been trained up in the way they should go. This boy is still a teenager. He shouldn't be making such utterances. Where do you think he got that from? Children learn what they live. This is speech that they speak when they're sitting on the table and having breakfast, or whatever the case may be, having dinner. Or when they are having their braai vleis near the fire there. This is how they speak about black people. It's completely abhorrent, completely unacceptable. I don't know what else to say, except to say that you need to arrest your behavior. You need to look yourself in the mirror. I have seen in newspapers very often, and this is not all white people, but I have said in the past, I have had an argument years ago in the newspaper with one white guy, whom I said to him, the reason why the African National Congress will remain in power for a long time in South Africa, in spite of all its faults, it's because black people come across your comments online and they then project that to all white people. And so that's exactly what Ehard has just done now. He has given EFF a good 1,000 or even 20,000 votes in the next year's elections. That's what he has just done. And not only EFF, even the ruling party. So now you find a scenario that his behavior is blocking people for voting for parties like the DA. Because they say, with children who speaks like this, that means we are nowhere near achieving the rainbow nation. If there are still children in South Africa who speak like this, why would we want to elect a party that has a white person as a leader? It's things like this. I'm now telling you, I'm black. I don't think like that, but I'm able to recognize those thoughts because I speak to a lot of people who are black who think like that. And there is a space for that thinking. For the same reason why this child can speak the way that they spoke. Okay? Now I want to leave it at this. I want to leave it at that. That the only way we can build a rainbow nation is by coming to ourselves, by recognizing our faults, by recognizing each other, treating each other as fellow human beings, treat each other the same way we would like to be treated. You wouldn't want me to come or anyone else to come to you who is a stranger and address you and address you in a manner that makes you feel undressed and humiliated. But that's what Ehard has just done. Okay? That's what Ehard has just done. It's unfortunate. It needs to be condemned with the strongest possible terms. Remember Vicky Momberg. She served a 3-year sentence with 1 year suspended as a first offender of this occurrence. Okay, we need to do better. If we are going to build a rainbow nation, we need to do better. We need to check out our children, and we can't as parents pass on to our children language like this. This is despicable. I know what has happened here, but white people are not a monolith. But clearly this boy comes from a racist family or he comes from a racist school. That's why EFF marched to the school to ascertain where the problem is coming from. In this case, I can never ever attach any blame on their behavior, except they misbehaved when they got to the school. I will make a separate video for that, but this is not a video to blame the victim. This ought not to happen in a country that is trying to build a rainbow nation. Okay, I'm already 18 minutes in. I'm out. Thank you for listening. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. And if you have, thank you very much. Much appreciated. I see the channel is growing, but share the video with as many people as possible. Race hustling is not acceptable, regardless of who does it. Whether you are black or white, we are trying to build a nation here. Okay? We have a country to save from the comrades. Ciao, ciao. Bye now.